So today I'm going to bring you something exclusive. I'm going to bring you an insane tale with pictures that you've never seen before, telling you about a certain nameless person, a remote control that they may have utilized against someone, and yeah, not one, but two tales they may have hijacked in their desperation. Now, the first time we heard tell of anything like this, it came from one Kate James. Kate James, if you don't know who that is, we're talking about that nameless person's ex-assistant, and the thing they said they took from them, well, it is absolutely crazy. Now, the second tale is one that we heard in passing before. This was told to us by Kevin Murphy when he took the stand. It made a blip on the proverbial radar, but it didn't come with any type of pictures whatsoever. And when you start thinking about it in context, when you look at this statement here, when you look at the device there, and you think about an iPhone story that came up in May 2016, yeah, there's some questions that I want to have answered, and you and we're going to go over that stuff today. Buckle up because, man, fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. So hey there, to all you fine folks on this fine day, I hope your day is going wonderfully. If you would, share this video far and wide. Some people, they have powerful friends, but you know what? I have powerful friends too. I have all of you. If you share stuff, it's really hard to suppress. Also, feed that pesky algorithm. Likes, comments, it enjoys all of that stuff. And if you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. And if you want to be subscribed to the channel, well, shiny buttons. They are appealing. So this first story that I want to include here, it's from one Kate James. Now, if you've heard this story before, listen to it in context here. Think about what I'm saying. And remember, Kate James is one of those people that didn't just bring accusation. Oh no, when they went out and they brought their statements, she actually brought receipts. When I'm talking about receipts too, I'm not talking about the run-of-the-mill type. I'm talking about things that, well, when you put them in context, she had enough behind-the-scene access that she has single-handedly pointed out the Homeland Security lies. She brought checks and on. And she is one of the two people that helped open up Australia. Yeah, you can see some of that evidence in front of you here. Now, the reason that I bring all of that up is because Kate James issued not one witness statement, but two witness statements. In that second witness statement, she drops an absolute bombshell saying that a certain nameless person took her tale of survival, adapted it into one of those incidents that we heard of. I'm going to read this stuff here with a few redacted words, and I'm going to keep it on this image alone. So, just for 2 minutes, listen to this. It's not all of this thing, by the way. When I was 26 years old, traveling in Brazil, I was violently, I'm going to replace a word with accosted, by an unknown male at Machete Point, having been awoken by a perpetrator while sleeping alone in my dwelling. This ordeal went on for 5 to 6 hours, and I narrowly escaped with my life. This torturous experience of such extreme, there's a certain type of violence, that's what she notes here, has haunted me ever since and permanently changed the trajectory of my life to this day. Over the years, I've shared this incident with many close friends, family, and therapists. In 2013, that certain nameless person became aware of what happened to me as I had talked about it with a friend of hers at the apartment. That nameless person then summoned me to her office where we sat down on a couch and she questioned me about it. She was curious as to how I coped with it on a daily basis and she suggested I buy a gun. I was shocked at the suggestion and would not consider having a gun in my home with a small child around. I responded that I chose to see myself as a quote-unquote, I'm going to say accosting survivor, not an accosting victim, and that is how I found my way to cope. On June 25th, 2020, I received documents pertaining to my involvement on behalf of the claimant in this case. As I perused the documents, much to my utter shock and dismay, I discovered that that nameless person had in fact stolen my certain type of violence conversation with her and twisted it into her own story to benefit herself. This, of course, caused me extreme distress and outrage that she would dare to attempt to use my most harrowing experience of my life as her own narrative. Now, the second story comes with exclusive, never-before-seen pictures. I'm going to read you a tale that came from the UK 2020, did not have pictures attached to it, and I want you to think about this, not only as the tale itself, but I also want you to think about this in terms of a certain nameless person telling you a tale. It was of an iPhone, it was hitting somebody's face, and you tell me, is this possibly a stolen story? So, we have the Mirror pick this up. The Mirror, they talk about day 7. So, if you want to go in and you want to find this all in context, you can find this on day 7 with Kevin Murphy talking about it. That is the estate manager, by the way, for JD and that certain nameless person. And he talks about things leading into this. He said, I have never seen JD commit any acts against that nameless person or anyone else. In contrast, I witnessed that nameless person shouting angrily at JD on multiple occasions. I was told by JD many times that nameless person had been physically, I'm going to use the word, accostive toward him. Through the course of my employment, I had heard that nameless person scream at JD on multiple occasions. I never heard JD scream at that nameless person. I believe that nameless person is a highly volatile person. She becomes increasingly volatile when she drinks, and when she drinks in combination with the amphetamine Provigil, a drug I understand she took regularly when I was employed by JD. Her behavior also increased when she drank, which she requested that I bring her on multiple occasions. Then he brings up this story here. JD told me that nameless person had become enraged and threw a heavy television remote at JD's face. The television remote had connected with JD's forehead with such force that it had broken. You can see the breaks here, by the way. When I arrived at the property, I could see a round swelling lump and a laceration to JD's forehead left by the remote control. JD appeared uncomfortable and embarrassed by the situation. He stated it was no big deal and asked me if I could get the remote control fixed or replaced. Now, you can see this brought up in a text message from June 27, 2016. The text message says that this story, it came from about a year ago. That's important, too, because the nameless person's story about an iPhone, that comes up in 2016. May 2016, to be precise. So again, stolen story. Not only that, but think about the environment you would have to be in for this to be a throwaway story. Oh, somebody broke a remote on your head? Okay, yeah, well, there's so much other stuff. We don't even need to bring up that picture. But remember something. There is a pic of a remote control at the 1480 house that's cracked because that nameless person threw it at JD and hit him in the forehead about a year ago or so. Okay. Now, further into the exchange, you can see the picture. It's sent from my iPhone. Laura Wasser, a day later, says, hey, nice, thank you. And you have Kevin Murphy bring this up in stories. But again, in context, when you compare it to that story that we heard, if you haven't heard it, by the way, that nameless person, their biggest incident out there, they say that an iPhone was taken, wound up like a baseball pitcher, thrown at their face. Sounds like a remarkably similar tale, right? Not only that, we have Kate James talking about their tale. There are other tales, too. People have said that other tales have been manufactured from movies like Gone Girl. Yeah, when you start thinking about all of this, you start again putting it all into context. Well, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm curious how you see this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff possible. Without you, none of it works. You want to help the channel out too? There are links in the description. Share this stuff out everywhere too. Helps it for sure. But thank you. I do appreciate you. And we will see you soon.